Hey, soldiers, the U.S. government is lying about the health of the economy. We've got the receipts. We have been reporting on recession indicators for quite some time now. I'm going to show you what the U.S. government has lied about for, at this point, 7 straight months. 7 straight months in a row, the government has lied about this particular economic data point. They're going to keep doing it, and it's all in an attempt to maintain power at the expense of the American economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the economy is slowing down. Now corporations, they're not trying to hide it. They're saying, hey, look, we're not hiring, all right? We just can't keep up the pace of hiring because we're seeing a slowdown in spending. Now, you might be familiar with some of these economists who are saying, you had the CEO of Bank of America come out and say, oh yeah, we were surprised. The American consumer is still spending. They're spending like never before. Why is that? That's because of inflation. When the American consumer goes to the grocery store and is faced with a $10 jar of Miracle Whip, we profiled that. Take a look at the community page if you want more information about that. When the American consumer is confronted with those types of prices for essentials, well, guess what? Yeah, the American consumer is going to spend. And Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, knows full well that spending is not as a result of a good economy. It's as a result of Americans saying, hey, I got to eat. So I got to pay these exorbitant prices. All right. So that's what's going on. And now we have a labor market implosion. These job numbers are abysmal for the entire year. Stay tuned because we're going to show you how your government has lied for 7 straight months and will continue to do so. Job openings crater. Prior data unexpectedly. These economists with that word unexpectedly. Notice how nothing is ever expected with these jobs reports. Prior data unexpectedly revised sharply lower. So what is that saying? We'll get to it in a second. 4 months, we have been warning that at a time when the U.S. economy is careening into a hard landing recession, the manipulated, seasonally adjusted, and politically goal-seeked job openings data released as part of the Department of Labor's monthly report is sheer rubbish. Remember when they told us we weren't in a recession, although we met the criteria that had defined recessions for decades and decades? All right, 2 straight quarters of negative gross domestic product growth. Well, guess what? That was just one. That was the first in a pattern by this particular administration that's in power today to say, hey, look, we're just gonna wing it. We're gonna fudge it. Okay, we're just gonna lie about it. That way, most of America who doesn't pay attention to these types of issues, they will just believe what we say. The obedient media will dutifully parrot what we're saying, and no one will look under the first layer of that onion. We've been telling you that these jobs that are being created, the few that are being created, and we'll see that has slowed dramatically, they are part-time jobs and second full-time jobs. Why do you need a part-time job or a second full-time job if the economy is doing what the administration says it's doing and firing on all cylinders? If this economy was going gangbusters, why would you need a second full-time job? But those along with the part-time jobs are what's making up the lion's share of the job creation that we've seen. Well, that is starting to take a turn in the other direction, with consensus expecting only a modest drop in the July job openings from 9.582 million to 9.5 million. What the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported instead was a doozy. In July, there were just 8.827 million job openings, okay? In a country where roughly, 200 million people or so are, working or eligible to work. In July, there were just 8.827 million job openings, the first report below 9 million since March of 2021. It was also the third biggest miss on record. So we see this chart, we featured it in the thumbnail. You can see that we're taking a dive in terms of the amount of job openings that are available for Americans at this time. And if we look that, the estimate is coming in below what the actual, eventual number is. Now, here's where we catch the government in a lie. It's not hard to do, right? But this is a particularly pernicious lie because if you are trusting the government and the media to report things accurately, well, guess what? You're out of luck. But you can come here and you can trust the Soldiers of Finance channel to do just that. Had the Bureau of Labor Statistics not drastically slashed the May number from 9.582 million to a laughable 9.165 million, the drop would have been almost 800,000 job openings toward the downward revision. That's right. For the past 7 reports, all of the months included in 2023 that we got data for so far, they've issued a high number initially, got that big news story. Oh, job openings are up. Unemployment is down. And then they've come back and they've issued another number, a revision about that same report that they told you was so rosy. A few weeks later, they came back and revised that. But the revision never gets the type of headlines that the original story gets. And the news media do not issue a breaking news banner to draw your attention to the fact that what they reported previously is no longer valid, that there are in fact fewer job openings. They don't do that. They'll put up breaking news and say, hey, there's a police officer chasing a dirt bike in Sacramento, California. And we know you live in Boston and it really doesn't matter to you, but here it is. They'll do, things like that. So this is what we're dealing with. And while 1 month does not make a trend, 3 months does, which is bad because the 3-month drop in job openings was 1.5 million. Okay. Job openings are headed in the downward direction. This is the second highest on record in terms of the amount of job openings that we saw drop. That's the second highest on record, surpassed only by the total economic shutdown during the COVID crash. And you remember how when that occurred, we had a flash crash. I mean, employers, the society, the economy was shut down. So we saw a steep dip in job openings. And they're saying that now that we look at these 3 months, we're getting into that same territory. You cannot tell me that this economy is doing well, okay? Now, it does behoove the administration to make you believe it is. And look, we have a Democrat in power right now, but I'm not suggesting that going forward, all the parties might learn from this and say, hey, let's just lie to the people. Let's just straight up lie to them, okay? They don't know economics. They're not plugged into these issues. It's football season. Let's just lie to them, okay? And maybe that'll work for us. So this is why we delve into this and look very closely into what's happening. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the largest decrease in job openings was in professional and business services, white collar, healthcare and social assistance, state and local government, okay? A lot of people run around thinking those government jobs are all, secure. Sometimes that's not the case. Those state and local government jobs included, when you look at them all, some do include in education, and federal government. They lost 27,000 jobs in terms of the announcements for openings. Okay. By contrast, job openings increased in information by 101,000 and in transportation, warehousing, and utilities by 75,000. Now, you could look at that transportation and warehousing and say that might be an indicator of strength in the retail sector, because what are they holding in these warehouses, right? Usually retail goods. Transportation, you definitely have to get those goods from one place to another. But if we drill down and examine exactly what those retail goods are, I'm sure we're going to find that a lot of them are necessities like food. Again, things that we cannot do without. As the number of job openings cratered to the lowest in more than 2 years, the number of people quitting their jobs, an indicator traditionally closely associated with labor market strength, as it shows workers are confident they can find a better wage elsewhere. This metric also plunged by 253,000 to just 3.549 million. After tumbling 265,000 in May, this is the lowest since February 2021. So that confidence that I'll be able to get another job, that confidence among the working class is waning. And just in case some still believe the Bidenomics strong jobs lie, the number of hires also crashed in July, plunging 167,000 to just 5.77 million, the lowest level since January of 2021. So what do we got for answers here? The answer is simple. While the drop was substantial, the real number of job openings remains still far below or far lower, since half of it, or some 70% of those numbers to be specific, is guesswork. As the Bureau of Labor Statistics itself admits, while the response rates to most of its various labor and other surveys has collapsed in recent years, people just aren't responding to it. Nothing is as bad as this one JOLTS report, where the actual response rate has tumbled to a record low, 31%. So I think that's a sign of people losing faith in the overall structure of government and just saying, you know what, I'm not even participating in this estimate. This is how they get that. A lot of people think, for starters, unemployment is calculated by the percentage of unemployment checks are going out. Actually, no, that's not how they do it. It's a survey that BLS conducts. And it's a survey of a very small amount of people. We've been over that in the past. All right, so we know 70% of the Bureau of Labor Statistics data is guesswork, but it's being presented as its hardcore, rock-solid, concrete fact. Nothing could be further from the truth, but even with the data that we have, we see a slowdown in hiring, all right? So, also remember, BLS does surveys. You would think that, like with unemployment, that metric, you would think that they calculate it based on the amount of unemployment checks that are going out from the states. No, that's not how they do it. They do it based on a survey of a relatively small amount of people in comparison to the overall U.S. population. So don't forget that. These are surveys, all right? And as we've seen, a lot of these are revised monthly, okay? Listen, you have got to batten down the hatches. If you got $10,000 or more in debt, you got to get rid of it. And if you need some help developing a plan and getting that done, mcenow.com/get debt free. We have partnered with Debt America. We've got debt resolution specialists that we can connect you with to help you get rid of that debt and have more money to purchase assets, because if we are going into a recession, assets are going to be very affordable, more so than outside of recession. Buy low, sell high, right? That's the name of the game. So look, there was speaking about pressure on our economy, there was a BRICS meeting. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Guess what? That acronym just grew by a lot. A lot more countries have officially joined BRICS. And there's some bad news for the dollar. Check out this video. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.